whatever angle you need, let us know so we can get that picture for you.
Okay. All right. Right now.
Whatever angle you need, whatever you want us to come closer or whatever, let us know. Yeah, we'll get it for you. All right.
Hey, one of my teleporter runs. Okay.
The U.S.-led coalition and Turkey conducted Friday their third joint patrol in northeastern Syria, they said, part of a plan designed to defuse tensions between Washington's two allies, Ankara and the Syrian Kurds. The patrol followed a telephone call late Thursday between Turkish Defense Minister Hulusi Akar and U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper, in which Akar reiterated that Turkey won't accept a delay in the creation of what it calls a safe zone, and would act alone if necessary to set it up. Akar also told Esper that Turkey would end the joint patrols if there are distractions, delays, and urged the U.S. to end its support to Syrian Kurdish fighters, according to a statement from the Turkish Defense Ministry. Ankara views Syrian Kurdish fighters as an extension of a Kurdish insurgency within Turkey and wants to move them away from the Turkey-Syria border. It has repeatedly threatened to carry out a military operation to push the Kurdish fighters back. But a Turkish military operation in northeastern Syria would carry a larger risk, bringing Turkish soldiers into a zone where at least 1,000 U.S. troops are deployed. Akar told his U.S. counterpart that Turkey would not allow the establishment of a terror corridor to its south, according to his statement. The coalition said the patrol went ahead as planned, and Turkey's defense ministry said it was in an area east of the town of Tal Abyad. Washington says the deal reached in August aims to address Turkey's security concerns. So far, fighters from the most prominent Syrian Kurdish group, the People's Protection Units or YPG, have moved away from border posts. But Turkey remains unhappy with the size of the area it calls a safe zone. It also wants some of the 3.6 million Syrian refugees in Turkey to return there. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan told Parliament that Turkey plans to settle 2 million refugees in the zone and will hold a donors' conference to help build homes and infrastructure for them. It was not clear how Turkey planned to move the largely Sunni Arab Syrians it is hosting from many parts of Syria into the Kurdish-dominated region, and whether the U.S. is on board. Separately, Turkey backed Syrian fighters in northwestern Syria. Announced they have united into one group called the National Army. The restructuring brings together fighters present in Idlib and Hama provinces and the coastal area who formerly operated under the National Liberation Front, and those in rural Aleppo. Mustafa Sajari, a National Army commander, said there are now about 100,000 fighters operating under the Turkey-backed National Army. Since 2016, Turkey has been training Syrian fighters who took part in Turkish military incursions in northwestern Syria and are now part of the Ankara-backed administration there. The unification could also set the stage for a possible confrontation with Idlib's dominant jihadi groups, including Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS or Huraz al-Din. This certainly exasperates HTS, said Sajari. We face many tasks internally, regarding HTS or externally to ward off Syrian government forces if they try to enter Idlib or violate the ceasefire. Idlib is the last area held by opposition fighters, without foreign power presence. Syrian government troops have been carrying out a military
Hey, whatever angle you need, let us know so we can get that picture for you.
Okay, alright, right now.
Whatever angle you need, whatever you want us to come closer or whatever, let us know. Yeah, we'll get it for you. Alright?
Hey, one of my teleporter runs, but it's okay.
Airmen and soldiers from Joint Base Lewis McChord participated in a water training exercise at American Lake here July 14 and 15, 2014. Airmen from the 22nd Special Tactics Squadron's Red Team practiced helicasting alternate insertion and extraction training with soldiers from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. Helicasting is an airborne technique used by Special Operations Forces units for amphibious insertion into a military area of operation. The unit is flown in by an aircraft. In this case an MH-47 Chinook helicopter, to an insertion point above the water where the STS members jumped out of the helo and into the water. The 160th SOR was tasked with AA training and called the STS in hopes their airmen would have the training requirement to take part in the exercise. Red Team had not practiced AAs in some time and agreed to join in the 2-day training. During that span, the group conducted 10 daytime helicast iterations and 8 nighttime helicast iterations. Their operations included soft duck insertions, which involved personnel pushing an inflated Zodiac boat out of the back of the helicopter into the water and jumping in after it. Ladder training and hoist training. As combat controllers, we can attach to Navy, Special Operations Forces, Operational Detachment Alpha, or Marine Corps Forces Special Operations Command, so we have to be smart on every type of infill and exfil, said Staff Sergeant Dallas Stoll, 22nd Street's combat controller. This is why we practice fast roping, helicast master, and repelling, which are all counted as A's. As one of the most currently trained helicast To become a helicast master, an airman must be an E4 or above, signed off by the unit commander and have 2 daytime iterations and 2 nighttime iterations, 1 with non-combat equipment and 1 with combat equipment each. As a helicast master, it's my responsibility to ensure my airmen don't jump from the aircraft unless we're 10 feet above the water and moving no faster than 10 knots of airspeed, Stoll said. Once we're in that profile, I ensure my guys unhook, get out and get accounted for in the water as safely as possible. Soldiers from the 160th SOR needed to accomplish the upgrade training for helicasting Special Operations Forces members out of their aircraft. They used this opportunity to train for extracting members from the water via a rope ladder and hoist methods as well. The 22nd Streets is a unit of the 24th Special Operations Wing based at Hurlburt Field, Florida. The primary mission of the 24th SOW is to provide special tactics forces for rapid global employment to enable air power success. The 24th SOW is U.S. Special Operations Command's Tactical Air and Ground Integration Force and the Air Force's Special Operations Ground Force to enable global access, precision strike and personnel recovery operations. In addition to A's, STS members train in high-altitude low opening and static line parachute jumps, demolition, controlling landing zones and helicopter landing zones. Airmen from the STS can attach to numerous outside units across the Department of Defense and must be proficient in just about everything. This exercise proved, once again, that soldiers and airmen from Joint Base Lewis McChord can train together, fight together and run a base together. In separate congressional hearings this week, Air Force Chief of Staff General David Goldfein and Vice Chief of Staff General Stephen Wilson told lawmakers that, while there has been steady progress, the service ended last fiscal year 2,100 pilots short of the 21,000 needed to execute the National Defense Strategy. To date, the service has